Because what the hell is wrong with expressing yourself for wanting to be me?
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most important LGBTQ+ musical theater moments.
It's my world that I want to have a little pride in. My world, and it's not a place I have to hide in.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most poignant and significant songs, scenes, or characters that make us want to wave that pride flag high. What LGBTQ+ musical moment means the most to you? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Paul's Monologue, a chorus line.
I just wanted to be somebody new, so I became Paul San Marco.
This musical gives us a glimpse behind the curtains into the creation of a professional show. Throughout the narrative, we get to know these Broadway hopefuls through an array of funny, meaningful, and intriguing stories.
I really need the song. Please God, I need the song.
However, Paul's monologue pulls at our heartstrings the hardest. He recounts his childhood, shares some painful memories from his youth, and talks about hiding his identity from his Catholic parents.
What'd you tell your parents?
I was a dancer in a show. Not what kind, of course. They couldn't stop bragging.
However, nothing has us welling up faster than when he reveals his folks' reaction after his two worlds collide.
So I ran past them as quick as I could, hoping they wouldn't recognize me. But the minute I passed, I heard my mother say, "Oh my God, I died."
Sadly, not everyone has a positive coming out experience, but this moment reminds us that there will always be people who love you for who you are.
But then my father turned around and went over to the producer. "Take care of my son," he said. And that was the first time he ever called me that.
Number 9. Spotlighting the struggles of those with identities outside of the gender binary. Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
And there was 3 sexes, then one that looked like 2 men glued up back to back. They called the children of the sun. Similar in shape and girth was the children of the earth. They looked like 2 girls rolled up in one.
While far from perfect, Hedwig was a trailblazing musical because of its non-binary themes. The title character is coerced into undergoing surgery, which is majorly problematic. But at its core, the story's about a genderqueer glam rocker in East Germany finding herself outside binary constraints while also grappling with past trauma.
Suddenly I'm Miss Farrah Fawcett from TV until I wake up and I turn back to myself.
John Cameron Mitchell, who wrote, directed, and starred in the movie, shared that Hedwig was a personal exploration of sexuality and gender before those conversations became mainstream.
Any kind of thing under the queer umbrella, which usually means looking at the world through a prism of gender and otherness, whether it's sexual or not. Everyone knows that there is a metaphor with Hedwig.
Global audiences resonated with the themes of self-discovery, especially those that defied so-called social conventions. The show garnered a cult following and continues to entertain, amuse, and move audiences worldwide. Number 8. Alyssa Shows Pride, The Prom.
People don't turn gay. They are who they are.
This is arguably one of the best LGBTQ+ musicals of the 21st century so far.
The backlash in itself was just a message of how necessary this show is.
Absolutely.
And,
Yes.
if there is anybody who's like, oh, yeah, maybe I can see that 10 years ago happening. It's like, no, that it's still happening. This is a show about now.
It centers around Emma, a teenager who just wants to attend prom with her girlfriend. However, the close-minded majority in their small town forbid it.
I don't want to be a scapegoat for people to oppose. What I want is simple, as far as wanting goes.
The show deals with self-acceptance and love, as well as how prejudices are inherently formed. One of the most powerful moments sees perfect cheerleader Alyssa Green finally come out and speak her truth.
I don't want to hurt you.
I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want to be me.
We have no doubt that Alyssa's stirring words resonated with many young viewers, and perhaps even brought comfort to others. Seeing her proudly acknowledge and celebrate her identity is incredibly empowering. Plus, we're thrilled that she and Emma finally get their dance. Number 7. What Would I Do? Falsettos.
What would I do if I had not met you? Who would I blame my life on?
Opening in 1992, William Finn and James Lapine's Tony Award-winning musical showed LGBTQ+ families and relationships in a whole new light. The story follows Marvin, who recently left his wife for a man, but fights to keep their family together for the sake of their son Jason. The musical was praised for delving into romantic and familial love without boxing its characters into tropes. It also addressed the rise of the HIV/AIDS epidemic in the early 80s. This leads to the most heart-wrenching song.
Who would I be if I had not loved you? How would I know what love is?
As Marvin reflects on his relationship with Whizzer and the future they might have had, What Would I Do also calls attention to a vital conversation that remains relevant to this day.
There are no answers, but what would I do?
No simple answers, but what would I do if you had not been my friend?
Number 6. The Whole Story. Bear, a pop opera.
You and I, you take my hand, leaving me breathless. Take a look at these big blue eyes and you'll understand. Why we whisper, and always I'll be with you always.
A hidden gem, Bear is one of the most gripping LGBTQ+ musicals of the modern age. It centers around Peter and Jason, two students at a religious high school who must keep their relationship secret.
If the world were different, and if wishing made it so, and if we knew we wouldn't lose the thing that matters most, I'm trying just as hard as you.
The couple breaks up as the pressures prove too much to bear, but the fear of being outed still looms over Jason.
I thought the good guys would triumph. I trusted the hero. I didn't hear his goodbye. I guess it was lost in the talk of a straight-acting coward.
Meanwhile, their classmates struggle with body image, popularity, substance use disorder, teen pregnancy, and self-expression. Sadly, the show does not have a happy ending. However, in recent years, the tragic finale has been used to spotlight LGBTQ+ youth who are heartbreakingly no longer with us. While the show has undergone several revisions, the underlying themes of tolerance and acceptance remain. Number 5. Breaking ground for LGBTQ+ relationships. Hair.
Hallelujah, Mary loved her son. Why don't my mother love me?
In 1968, the age of Aquarius dawned on Broadway as Hair the Musical changed the face of musical theater forever. Thanks to interracial couples, full frontal nudity, sexual liberation, and pushing the censorship envelope wherever possible, it shook up audiences. The show celebrated love in all its forms and preached that everyone should be free to be who they are and love who they love. It also featured same-sex lip locks, which, as you can imagine for mid-20th century theatergoers, was quite scandalous. After all, before Hair came along, who dared present LGBTQ+ relationships so openly on stage?
Hair was one of those defining moments in not only musical theater history, but something in musical theater that was a catalyst to cause change in the rest of the world.
The show became a queer legacy, reaching out to generations of audiences who only want to let the sunshine in. Number 4. A window into being Black and LGBTQ+ in modern America. A Strange Loop.
Big black and queer as American Broadway. Big black and queer as American Broadway.
Michael R. Jackson's Pulitzer Prize and Best Musical Tony Award-winning show provides hard-hitting insight into what it means to be big, Black, and a member of the LGBTQ+ community in today's America. We meet Usher, a theater usher who's working on his metafictional musical masterpiece about a Black queer man, writing a musical about a Black queer man, writing about, you get the gist.
I am a Disney usher, I'm barely scraping by. My discontentment comes in many shapes and sizes. When I wake up each morning, I tell myself to try. I tell myself that I will make no compromises.
This ingenious show takes a deep dive into the complicated paradox of self-perception. Usher's constantly challenged by his inner thoughts over his views on sexuality, sex, body image, race, and his God-fearing, Tyler Perry-loving parents.
'Cause I love you, and I don't want your soul to be wasted. It hurts me so bad sometimes I can't taste it.
The show was praised for its candid, heartbreaking, and hilarious dissection of identity. It's bold, innovative, and just what we've been waiting for.
Like all those Black gay boys I knew who chose to go on back to the Lord.
Number 3. A rare exploration of African American and queer relationships. The Color Purple.
So what about love?
One of the main themes of The Color Purple is the relationship between the female characters. Celie's shaped by her interactions both with Sophia and Shug. While Sophia teaches her to stand up for herself, it's with Shug that Celie experiences true love for the first time. After a turbulent and painful history with men, Shug makes Celie feel seen and adored, and the affection they share is genuine. The show blasts patriarchal inflicted trauma and kicks down both gender stereotypes and heteronormative expectations. Based on Alice Walker's 1982 novel of the same name, the narrative made waves for delving into this usually ignored intersectional group. Celie's story is powerful, moving, and deserving of its many accolades. Number 2. The first Broadway musical with an openly lesbian protagonist, Fun Home.
I felt absurd in a dress. I really tried to deny my feelings for girls, but I was like you, Dad, me too.
Adapted from Alison Bechdel's 2006 graphic memoir, the musical follows the author's exploration of her sexuality. It also addresses generational ideas of what it means to be LGBTQ+ through her closeted father, with whom she had a complicated relationship.
Coming out and becoming the person that you're gonna be in your life is a lifelong process, and I really feel like that's what the show is about also. When I came out, my dad didn't speak to me for 7 years.
The fictional adult Allison narrates her story through a series of non-linear vignettes, focusing on childhood, her teen years, and adulthood. While musical theater isn't short on stories from the queer man's perspective, Fun Home became the first musical to open on Broadway to feature a lesbian protagonist.
And here we were, singing. One of my earliest childhood memories had become a lesbian anthem. My excruciatingly awkward first sexual experience was turned into an exuberant showstopper.
And not a moment too soon. Set to an unforgettable Grammy-nominated soundtrack, Bechdel's story is darkly humorous but will forever hold a grip on your heart. The show was nominated for 12 Tonys, winning a well-deserved 5, including Best Musical.
I thought it was supposed to be wrong, but you seem okay with being strong. I want you so.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. one of the first gay-themed musicals, Boy Meets Boy, a musical comedy that shows no matter your sexuality, love is love.
Beneath the stars together, singing a jolly song. Now that's the life that can't be beat. You always whistle as you merrily go along with a smile for everyone you meet.
A lesson in acceptance, tolerance, and pride. Everybody's talking about Jamie. Stomp out prejudice in Jamie's fabulous shoes because there's a place where we all belong.
'Cause I'm coming up in a double D cup. When a boy's a stacked, he's the headline act.
How to be an ally. Tick Tick Boom. A love letter to Jonathan Larson's LGBTQ+ friends.
I think of our friends. So many. I think of their funerals. I think of their parents, not even 50, saying the Kaddish over their children.
Is this real life?
Challenging cis norms. Kinky boots. Let us hear you say yeah to defying gender norms.
What separates someone like you from a man like me? I'm a reflection, her protection. I'm her curious mystery.
A story of self-discovery and self-love. The Boy from Oz. A reminder to always be proud of who you are.
I can't go back there anymore, 'cause I am not. I am not. I am not.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Non-stereotypical LGBTQ+ characters and relationships. Rent.
525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year?
Opening on Broadway in 1996, Rent quickly became the quintessential LGBTQ+ musical. It's been praised for celebrating diversity, its wide-reaching depiction of queer relationships, and for broaching the HIV/AIDS epidemic.
Will someone care?
The Pulitzer and Tony Award-winning show is just as popular and relevant today as it was when it first opened.
When they were all diagnosed with AIDS, he realized that Rent, in a way, afforded a palette to talk about what needed to be talked about at that time.
It refused to pigeonhole its characters based on how they identified, and even showed that gender and sexuality can be fluid. There are few, if any, token characters or stereotypes. Just real people with real emotions going through life's relatable highs and lows.
I think they meant it when they said you can't buy love. Now I know you can rent it, and at least you are my love for life.
Rent taught us to fill our lives with love and take nothing for granted. It also set the groundwork for more positive and authentic LGBTQ+ representation in musical theater. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.